Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Yeah, I just made a short break last video. So, to take a little walk before sunset or at sunset. Yeah, just to grab a bit of fresh air before the coding commences. Okay, I would like to have the startup before the client instance here. I think that makes a bit more sense. Yeah. Okay. Let me also put. Let me put in a command line. Okay. Let me put this down here. Yeah. Okay. And this here. Okay, cool. Then. Okay. Then. Yeah. Is there anything else we need to do? Let me see. Da-da. So win main. Start the lock. We can reset this one. Debug CPP. Okay. I think this looks very good. Okay, let's see what happens if we launch the game. Crash. Okay, well, That didn't went too well. Okay, I thought I thought we were set, but seems not. Uh, um, what happened? Okay, it crashes. Right. Because global data doesn't exist. Right. Right. True. Um, how do we deal with that? Um, hmm. Yeah, okay. Okay, we cannot store. Yeah. Good. That means, yeah, we cannot do this here. Okay, let me move it back, back up here. Let me actually move it up here then. Yeah. No, actually, I would like it down here. Okay. Right. We can't store this here. So let's remove that again. Okay, so it means that this one can be called multiple times. This function is potentially called multiple times. Yeah. Good, then we go search for parse replay. Yeah. Then we need to put this back here. Okay. Can be called before memory manager is initialized. Can not should not be called before memory manager is initialized. Maybe we should have an assert in here. Assert the debug, the dynamic memory allocator is not null. then we can remove this again. Maybe we should actually check for memory pool factory. Pool factory. Maybe we should do if. No, I think that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let me add this here. Okay, I think this makes sense, yeah. Okay, let's try that. I think it has shut down because of the argument here. Okay. Okay. Ignore. Okay, exit game. Memory leaks. Ignore. Okay, cool. We got rid of these asserts here. Okay, we should probably also test it in without debug. So we take this guy and we generate. Yeah. Let me put a breakpoint in here. I think we need to restart Visual Studio. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at our notifications. Oof. Yeah. Let's see. Most of the wiki is private. What? I tried looking for the wiki, but most of it seems to be private. None of these pages currently exist, and that there are no current placeholder. Work in progress, and so just booting back. Fair enough, he says. He doesn't sound very convinced. Fair enough. Fair. That's funny. Is this needed? Unless I'm missing something, I think it would be better to get rid of this type def. There was a compile error when I did not add it, so I added that. Shouldn't the copy flag be checked here as well? The copy flag. It is checked in the assignment operator, which this calls. Could change the first check into if const expr or if const expr. Yeah, I could probably do that. This is MGUI style of declaring enums for ease of use. MGUI style of declaring enums for ease of use. For, let's say, for flags, the problem is that sparse flags equals flag name 1, flag name 2. Does not work if that is an enum. And it is bad to use int for flag types because it is hard to follow what this flag is then, because it is more difficult to follow what this flag type then is then the reason for this is that okay, so 0 compile errors and okay. Good. So, create global data. Okay, I'm curious. We didn't call this yet because we actually went in here. Look at that. Aha. Wait, hold on. Did it actually? Let me see that. Does it actually init the memory manager here at this point? Or is it already existing? It already exists. Okay. Okay, so then we create this here and we pass. Okay. And then afterwards we get to this guy. Actually, you know what? Actually, it does make sense. Gload screen bitmap. Object. I think it probably makes sense if we move this guy down here behind the behind the bitmap, because so then that if like there's an error here, that at least we see like we see the the error in front of this image. Like if there's like a serious error pop up. I think that makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. All right. Okay. Shut down memory manager. Boom. All right. Okay. That seems to work. Okay, I think this works. Yeah. Then we create a new branch. So this is fix fix memory manager fix initialization fix memory initialization issues. Okay. Okay, so we can reset this guy. Let's clean up a little bit. Okay, so this is ZH. Fix memory manager initialization issues. Okay. Let's push that. Good. So let me debug memory crash. Okay, so this is fixing this one. Fixes this. And there's a follow-up for this. Follow-up for... This change fixes memory manager initialization issues. Problems identified. Client instance and pass command line for startup. Client instance initialize and command line both used a new allocator before the memory manager before the memory manager was initialized. This caused and both debug and release. This caused the memory manager to actually initialize twice and trigger some asserts on game launch, trigger one assert on game launch and one assert on game exit and game quit. To actually be created twice. This is now fixed. This change also uses the malloc allocator that also uses the STL malloc allocator that was added to the pending pull requests number. This one. It bypasses. It bypasses new. Okay, so this is it's not really user facing. I would say it is fixed. Let's say it's bug. It's not really user facing. It's not crashing or anything. So fix minor this project. By fixing initialization, ordering, and preventing some allocations with new. Okay. So this is also for generals. To do replicate in generals. Replicate in generals. Memory. Okay, cool. Then this one is served. Okay. Then let me get to this guy here. Const expr, do we already have that? Const expr, we do. Okay, so this is fixing template copy, yeah. add generals as well. Still need to replicate to generals, right? Yeah. Okay, so he wants a const expr. If const expr if this is not the other. Let's see if that compiles. Oh, actually, we don't need generals then. Okay. By the way, these should be const, right? No, it shouldn't be const. It's assignments. No. You probably want to say test against replace VC6. Okay, that is compiled. Use const expr. Fixed. Oh, this one fails to compile. Oh, that's not good. Let's see what the error is. Okay. Syntax error, argv. Okay. Command line CPP. It's probably this one here, isn't it? Fix VC6 compile error. Okay. Okay, let me see that. Less logging certainly makes sense for profiling because logging can have a performance impact. Whether one log is faster than the other, I don't know, and I think we do not care this time because we are not focusing on profiling. So you should just remove the RTS internal part. Why are you swapping it for RTS profile? How? What is the issue? I don't understand the issue. The intent here is, let me click on it. I don't understand the issue. It looks like both are in agreement here, but I don't understand what exactly it is that they want. Okay, can we look at this in code? So it's this one here. No. Which changes it? This one. So, whoops. Okay, so let's search for this, yeah? This one. Good. So, yeah, now it's hard to read here with the formatting, but so it says if def RTS profile, he said by default RTS profile builds log to file, but not to console, in the interest of speed. want console output, just change this line, right? For speed, right? So in the interest of speed. So the EA developer intentionally put this here previously for RTS internal or underscore internal purposefully to improve performance. So you probably tested and you realize it's slow, and then you say, okay, let's make it faster. Yeah, so let's remove the logging to console. And so now the question is, why should RTS profile not be fast? Right? Why should RTS profile log to both file and to console? Why is this required? Because RTS profile, the purpose of RTS profile is to profile game performance. So it should be as close as possible to the original game. As close as possible to the final release that the customer, the player, gets. So it needs to be fast. It's not meant to be slow. Right? And so debug flags default, this only applies to debug. Okay, let me think this one more. Let me think this through. Hold on. I think they think that you can run release just with RTS profile, and then it's not logging to console anyway. Yeah, true. If you just enable RTS profile, you don't enable RTS debug, then there's no logging anyway. Right, so we don't really care then, right? Right. Yeah. I guess you can remove it. Yeah. Sure. 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 So that refers to RTS internal debug. This one, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, I agree we can remove it because you won't run RTS profile with RTS debug most of the time anyway. So but on the other hand, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, we can remove it, I guess. Okay, we need to enable this. So we look for, we search for this here, log to file, log to console. Okay. All right. Okay. Was there anything else? If def RTS internal was correctly applying the assert to all versions except internal. Release debug and profile. Proposed change. I think. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's think about this. RTS internal. Debug assert crash was correctly applied. Applying the assert to all version except internal. Release debug and profile. However, the proposed change to RTS debug narrows the scope unintentionally. Now the assert would run only in release. Ah. If and def RTS. You're right. We can just remove. We can just remove the if and def. Preprocessor condition. So that also concerns this one. Which file is that? CD big file system. Okay. Okay. Fixed. partition manager. Yeah, I think we can just remove it then. Okay, let's remove it. I think we can also remove this here. Okay, I removed the comments and the preprocessor condition as well, because with RTS internal gone, there's no need to guard it to RTS debug. Guard it with RTS debug. Condition. Removed. Okay. All new review comments addressed. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, good. Let's actually see if that still compiles then. Yeah. All right. Okay, let me see this one next. Implement the system time and simulation timer. Okay. Okay. The setup is done every frame. This can be optimized by moving display string creation and setup to the constructor or init function. If we want people to be able to change the font size dynamically from the options menu, then it will need to be set up every frame. Not quite. The options are applied. The settings from the option the settings in the options menu are applied when pressing accept, which calls a function to apply, which calls a function. This function we will then be able to call free custom that and create able to call to recreate the fonts. Yeah. Or a variation thereof to rescale the fonts, rescale the texts. This can then also be called when changing resolution. this would then also be done after the resolution has changed. Need to be done. On that note, why is it called free custom UI? Free message resources, custom UI. Yeah, I guess it's okay. Yeah, custom UI. Makes sense. Yeah. Or refresh custom UI resources. Had to add an extra check when drawing the game time, as a quick start menu is not considered in game and it's not considered the shell map. Drawing the game time. The quick start menu is not considered in game. Okay, what does that mean? Probably the condition. Okay. Okay. It would work if you do it inside the enum itself. It would work if you do it inside the enum itself. Yeah. Okay, is there anything else you would like to look into this session? I checked this out a bit more, added an assert here, and it seems like some config on startup can end up passing in a blank player name. Okay. So it seems like this can be normal behavior. Oof. And is that correct behavior as well? Or also bug? I my gut tells me that it is not intended to look up players that have no names ever. Is that the correct behavior then, or also bugged? I'm asking because it appears strange that someone would like to look up a player that has no name. What is this supposed to achieve? We can continue this discussion in a new bug report if that becomes too unrelated. Maybe there are more bugs, and not just with team kill team. Okay. I think this is a little awkward to have the copy constructor call the copy assignment operator, and also potentially slightly inefficient if the data is copied. Oof. Oof. What would the inefficiency be then? Because it's a STD map, right? STD map default size. STD map default. Allocation size. What is the initial allocation size of a SD map with no elements? 0. No dynamic memory is allocated. Yeah. Empty. If this was more simple, then I would agree, but I think in this case it is easier to just write the code once. Just write the code once. SED map initializes to initializes does not allocate anything on default construction. I do not think there's worry about inefficiency here, and also this function is called. There's no worry about inefficiency there. There should be no worry about inefficiency. If the function was even called. If this construction okay, I think I'm happy for the day. We got a bit of stuff done. I made a pass over all my reviews. I reviewed some other things again. Yeah, got work done. Yeah, and we also merged 2 fixes from Mauler. Okay. Good. Let me get the fetch and prune all the remotes. Good. I think I will end it here. We got stuff done. And I wish you a great day or night until next time. Goodbye.